Kitty and I will room together.
We will?
Hey, don't get all buddy-buddy until...
Episode 7 of EXO. Kitty starts with Kitty trying to discuss her dream about Yuri with Kyu. Minho overhears and ends up blurting out that he had a similar erotic dream about Kitty. Kitty is grossed out by the comment and the trio concludes that such dreams do not mean anything. Meanwhile, at her house, Gina is upset with Yuri for causing controversy when Korea's popular gossip website posts photos of her leaving the party with D. Gina wants to restore their family's public image and wonders if she could snap Yuri with D at church. Yuri promises to do whatever her mother wants before going to school, where she and the rest of the people caught at the party are going to be punished with detention. At the cafeteria, D asks to break up with Yuri because he did not want to leave Kitty for Yuri's mess. Yuri apologizes for taking Kitty's necklace, claiming that she was scared to lose D, who was only starting to be friends with her. Meanwhile, Yuri goes to Kitty's assigned room in the girls' dorm to return the necklace but learns that Kitty had been bunking with D and the boys all year long. Yuri is visibly upset. The students gather at the library for detention. Kyu is worried that dating him was causing Florian's grades to fall. Florian promises that everything is under his control because Professor Lee really liked him as a student. The students' phones are confiscated for the next 8 hours of detention. Professor Lee tells the rest of the students that Kitty is to blame for the party being busted and Minho is visibly upset. Madison joins Minho in detention, even though she was not being punished. At the same time, Dee wonders if Yuri has talked to Kitty. Kitty gets defensive about it but starts swooning when she sees Kitty enter the library. Dee catches Yuri wearing the necklace and confronts her. Yuri tells him that she knew Kitty was breaking the school rules and staying with them. She threatens to expose Kitty if Dee tries to break up with her. Kitty also notices the necklace and confronts Yuri about it when Gina shows up to detention to check on the kids. Gina notices Yuri wearing the necklace and calls at hers, leaving Yuri and Kitty confused. Professor Lee follows Gina outside and asks why she kept the fact that Kitty was Eve's daughter from him. Gina asks Professor Lee how that information mattered to him, leaving the conversation. The students are all doing their thing when Professor Lee needs to use the restroom. He puts Madison in charge of the detention students and leaves. Madison administers organized chaos in the library, asking the students to make out by the rare books section. Minho is amazed by the fact that Madison is really cool. Yuri asks Kitty to hang out with her near the yearbooks where they try to find the 1993 yearbook from their graduation. Yuri wants to know more about her mother's past to destroy Gina, unlike Kitty, who only wants to get to know her mother better. Kitty and Yuri decide to work together and wonder if Professor Lee and their mothers had a love triangle. There may be clues in Gina's office, so the pair snoop through Gina's emails and learn that she kicked Juliana out of the school on purpose. Yuri is further upset with her mother and angry about the situation. Meanwhile, Kitty finds out that Gina was aware that she's Eve's daughter all along. Yuri calls her mother a liar and wonders what it is that she's hiding. They conclude that Professor Lee would have a copy of the 1993 yearbook since he was the alma mater of school too. They decide to sneak into Lee's house to find his copy of the yearbook. Professor Lee makes it back to the library and is pleased with Madison for maintaining the decorum. He does not notice Kitty and Yuri are missing and asks the group to list out their lunch orders. Dee is concerned by the fact that Minho knew what Kitty would like to order in comparison to him, who was dating Kitty was so long. Minho tells Dee that Kitty wasn't in Korea only to see him but to learn more about her mother. Professor Lee decides to take a pre-lunch roll call, but Florian distracts him by asking to borrow a copy of Gilgamesh, which is not in the library. He is excited to share the copy with a student in need and decides to go home to bring it for Florian. Kitty calls Kyu from Professor Lee's landline and tells him that they are at his house. Kyu answers the call from his watch but fails to mention to Kitty that Lee is on his way home. The girls hide in the closet as Lee picks up the copy of the novel and leaves to go back to school. Kitty and Yuri eventually end up finding the yearbook and, subsequently, a photo of Gina and Eve together. Yuri points out that it looks like her mother had gained a lot of weight back then. Kitty realizes that it was Gina who was pregnant with Alex and not her mother. Yuri returns the necklace to Kitty and puts it on her, making Kitty go through a lot of different emotions. They then take a shortcut to reach the library before Professor Lee. However, Lee beats the girls to it and starts taking attendance. Madison distracts Professor Lee again and the girls go back to their respective seats. Yuri claims that she was being crazy when she took Kitty's necklace and promises to make things right. She borrows Kyu's watch to make an important call, while Kyu learns that Kitty's erotic dream was about Yuri and promises to keep it a secret between them. Detention ends with Professor Lee handing out the phones back to the students, while Kitty finds Alex. She shows Alex the yearbook and tells the young professor that Gina could be his mother. The paparazzi are waiting outside to capture Yuri and Dee together, so Yuri makes an elaborate scene and publicly breaks up with him for being in love with Kitty. Yuri tells Dee that he's now free from the fake relationship and leaves. Yuri texts her mother that she has broken up with Dee because she had learned that Gina was responsible for Juliana's transfer. Kitty, who was watching the breakup all this time, is shocked to see Dee grab and kiss her. Kitty ignores her dream about Yuri and kisses Dee back as the episode comes to an end. While the truth might finally be out there, Kitty isn't ready to just move right past things and wants to unpack the baggage, something she hopes to do during the class camping trip. Although Dee seems hesitant to open up, Yuri picks Kitty to be her bunkmate and is more than happy to spill the tea. Yuri tells Kitty she was right about her and Dee being in a fake relationship. Kitty questions what could compel them to be fake in a fake relationship, which is when Yuri confesses she's gay and can't be in her family, explaining what happened with Juliana. Kitty offers to get Margaret to help find Juliana to pass along a message for Yuri, which she's able to successfully do. When Kitty gets back to the tent from a date with Dee, more on that in a minute, Juliana calls and she gives the phone to Yuri. As she listens to Yuri say she loves Juliana so much, Kitty says she feels like her stomach is getting torn out, hinting there was definitely more to that dream than Kitty wanted to let on. Okay, back to that date between Kitty and Dee. Dee pulls out all of the stops and does a grand gesture for Kitty with a special date away from the group. He uses the date to clear the air and apologizes for how he behaved at the welcome party, telling Kitty he wishes he could take it all back and do things differently. The pair seem to make up and even exchange I love yous. However, as we saw at the episode's end, Kitty clearly has some feelings developing for Yuri that she's trying to bury that are sure to come out eventually.
Hey, top down on the 405, half hour late, we on LA time.